Hello everyone, welcome back to our training series on Sutton Group Heritage YouTube channel. The series you're looking at today is on the use of electronic signature. Before I get demonstrating the use of electronic signature, the most important thing you need to do is sign up for electronic signature. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Simply go into Web Forms. Hang on a second, I gotta get into Web Forms. Okay, there we go. And once you're into Web Forms, you're going to see the tabs along the top. You're going to see add-on services. Click on add-on services. I suggest you go down to Faltor for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's $12 a month. So that's $144 a year. It's cheaper than DocuSign. And number two is it very smoothly integrates with our electronic data management system, which is Faltor. So it basically saves you some steps in the long run, and we highly recommend it. So how do I subscribe? Well, I go down the line till I see Faltor, go over to the right-hand side, and click on the gray box that says Link to Web Forms. Once you've done that, another information box is going to come up, and it's going to ask you for your email address and password on Faltor. Once you've done that, you're going to see this arrow this area get linked, and you'll see a green check mark. And it takes about 12 hours for that processing to be done, so or that linking to be done. So if you wanted to use your electronic signature right away, it's not going to happen. So please subscribe to this before you need it, and give yourself at least 12 hours head start. So subscribe to it at least 12 hours before you need to actually use it. So we have now subscribed to the electronic signature. I'm going to show you how to actually deal with electronic signature. For this demonstration, I'm going to demonstrate with an agreement of purchase and sale. So I have created my kit. I have called it Electronic Signature Demo. In my kit, I've added an agreement of purchase and sale, which I have completely filled out, confirmation of cooperation, offer summary, notice of fulfillment, and FinTrack receipt of funds. I've also attached a Schedule B. And for those who don't know how to do this, I'll just quickly show you. You can attach any file to any transaction kit in your web forms. You simply go up to this button that says Attach File. It's going to open up a window where you can browse for any document on your computer. You click on that Browse button, it'll open up your documents into your computer. You choose the schedule or the form you want to attach. It'll come up here and you simply click Attach Above File. So I'm not doing that today, but that's a quick explanation on how to do it. So I've got my transaction kit ready to go, or my agreement of purchase and sale kit ready to go. And I am now going to send it to Faltor. So I go up to my Send To button, click on it, and I choose Faltor and click. It's going to send me to another window. This window is where I select the documents I want to send to my Faltor account for electronic signature. In this case, I don't want to send all of the documents. I want to send my agreement of purchase and sale, the cooperation, the offer summary, and of course my Schedule B. But I don't need the notice of fulfillment or the receipt of funds at this point in time, so I'm not going to send them. So I've only checked off the forms I want to send. Then I go down to this section that says Document Type. This is where we have to tell the system what is it we're doing. Are we sending over listing forms? If we're sending over listing forms, I would choose listing. But in this case, I'm sending over an agreement of purchase and sale. So that is a transaction. So I choose transaction. If I had an MLS number, which I don't because this is a demonstration file, I could add the MLS number in here or click on search by address and add that. Then it will link to a transaction kit if it is in the system. I'm sorry, a listing kit if it is in the system. We're not going to do that for this demonstration, but it's a good habit to get into if you do have that information. Okay, we've chosen everything we need to choose on this page, so we're going to go down and click Continue. It's now going to send us to Faltor. We're waiting for it to send us to Faltor, and we're still waiting. My internet is obviously slow tonight. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Oh, here we go. So now it has sent the documents I asked it to send it through to Faltor. It sent it in a transaction kit, which is what I wanted. And now I'm ready to start that electronic signature. So first and foremost, I go over to the very last tab that says Signatures, and I click on it. Then I click Add a Signature Request. So that's going to activate the signature package information page. And here it is. The first step we're going to do is name that package. So either name it by the client's name or address. I'm going to write electronic signature demo. And if you wanted to put a deadline in there, you can. This is a good helpful tip. If you click on the question marks, it gives you an information box on what that's for. It says if there's no fixed deadline, your signature request will be deleted automatically after 30 days. So if you want to impose a deadline prior to that, you could fill it in there. If you're actually going to be sitting with the client, so say this is a listing presentation you're going to, and you don't want to print all the documents out, you want them to be signed electronically, but you're going to be sitting there with the clients. Simply click this sign in person box, and they can actually go through your computer individually with you and sign it by clicking on your computer. And then it'll automatically email them their copy of their document. So you don't have to send it to them electronically. You can set it all up and actually do it in person. And you just need to remember to click that box there. Their little question mark says, although the email will be sent to the signers requesting them to sign, you will also be able to sign in person with the participants. So if you were going to be face-to-face, you would click that. Then you can add a message. You can add whatever you want. This is quite a large area. I usually just put, please follow the prompts. And I go from there. So then once we've finished that section, we're going to go down to the bottom and click Next. That's going to take us to our second section. And our second section is where we actually select and validate who we want signing this. So I'm going to add a participant here. I'm going to add Joe Smith. Let me do this correctly. And I am going to use one of my email addresses at rogers.com. And in this situation, there's only going to be one other person, the buyer, who needs to sign this. I could also add the listing agent on here. And once my buyer has signed it and I've confirmed they have signed it, it would then go to the listing agent. But in this case, I am not going to add another party onto here. So we've added who we want to participate. And if I needed another one, I could just select add a participant. So we've now got Joe Smith as our buyer who is going to participate in the electronic signature. So I want to go down to Next. This page is going to allow us to select which documents we want Joe Smith to sign. Well, I want him to sign them all. So I've clicked on all of them. And it takes us to our next set of sequences, which is number 4. And we are going to check which sequence of, we're going to organize the sequence of documents and of the signers. So this is quite easy. You just grab it and drag. So I'm going to put confirmation first because everybody should sign the confirmation of representation first. Then the agreement of purchase and sale. I'm going to put Schedule B after that, and then the offer summary. Well, I want Joe to sign it first and then for it to come to me because then I can check to make sure everything's been done correctly. So I've changed the sequence of signers by just grabbing it and dragging Joe in the number 1 position. I'm done with this. I'm now going to click Next. Okay, the next section is number 5, and that's the positioning of the signatures and initials on the pages. So I'm going to grab this toggle bar here, and that's going to pull the page down in front of me. You're going to notice that my forms are not filled in. Your forms will be filled in, but for this demonstration, I didn't fill in the forms. So now I'm going to go down to the first place I need Joe to sign, and that's going to be in the buyer's box. So I'm going to click on Add a Signature, and you're going to see a little blue box pop up with Joe's name and email address. I'm going to go over to this little cog on the right hand side and click on it, and that's going to open up an information box. And in this information box, I'm going to click on another tog, and it's going to allow me to choose how I want this participant to either sign with a full signature or with just an initial. Well, I only need an initial in this bubble, so I clicked on Initial. Just to show you again, clicked on Initial, and you know it's gone through because you see beside his name it says Initial. Well, I want to make that box a little smaller so that his initial is the size of the blue area right there. So the next thing I need to do is I need to position my initial for this document. So I've clicked up here down to Laura Marks. I go into the cog on the corner. Again, I click on the cog and select Click to Initial. And I know that that happened because the initials are beside my name. I make it a little bit smaller, and I add myself to the cooperating buyer brokerage bubble so that my initials are there. I scroll down, and here's another section that I need a signature. So I've clicked Add a Signature. Up comes my green box. I pick it up, and I drop it in here. This time, I don't need to click on the cog to the right-hand side because automatically the signature option is your default when you click on the Add button. So I don't need to change this. All I do is have to grab it and put it in place. Now I need to do the buyer. So I'm going to grab Joe Smith. I'm going to add his signature. Again, the default comes up with the full signature. I'm going to grab it and put him in this place. So I don't need to worry about filling in the date because the signature is stamped with the date and time. So that's all the areas that I need to have signed or initialed on this particular document. I want to go to our next document. So to do so, I go into the top right-hand corner where there is an arrow that is going to take me to the next document. I'm going to click there. And that's going to take me to my agreement of purchase and sale. Again, I'm going to go through the same process of going down to the areas where I need to add initials. So I'm going to click on Joe Smith. I'm going to bring him up here. I'm going to click on the cog. I'm going to click on the cog for a second time. I'm going to choose initials. I see that it's been done. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller by dragging it in, and I'm going to place it in the area that needs his initials. I'm going to do it again. Clicked on Joe, the cog, clicked on initials, make it a little bit smaller, throw it in the bubble. Down to the next page, one more time, bring it up. Click on the cog, click on initials, make it a little smaller, put it in the bubble. One more time. Make it smaller, throw it into the bubble. And now I'm going to put Joe's signature on the signature page. And again, I don't need to choose the cog because the default is the full signature. I'm going to go down a little further. I'm going to drop the menu down to my name, click on Add Signature. Again, the default full signature comes up, and I'm going to put it down at the Commission Trust Agreement signature line. And now my last page in this is my Schedule A. I'm going to go to Joe, click on Signature. Again, I don't I need the initials, so I'm going to click on the cog, go to initial, and I've got Joe in place. So that's the end of the pages on this one. So I'm going to go up to the corner where there is where it says next document. Okay, if I made a mistake and instead of clicking here, I went down to click next, it's going to take me to the end of my signing process. But I missed signing a couple of the documents. How do I know that? Because right here, it doesn't say that there's any initials to be done or any signatures to be done. As you can see in the first two forms, you can see that I've set up the initials and signatures. So I made a mistake. I went down to the bottom and clicked next instead of the arrow at the top. No worries. If that happens to you, just hit the previous button, and that's going to take you to the previous page. And you can see I've already done this one, so I can go up to the arrow and navigate. The next document, again, I have done that one, so I navigate to the next document. And this one I missed, so I am going to add the initials here. I'm going to click on Joe. I'm going to go here, choose click for initials, and make it a little smaller and put it in. I'm going to go to the next box, and that's going to take me to my summary, my offer summary, and I'm going to add Joe's name to it. I'm going to show you something different. Say I ended with placing my signature on the last document, and I was on a roll here and wasn't really paying attention. I clicked and I went, oh my goodness, there's my signature instead of the buyer's signature. Well, it's very easy to correct. You go to this cog, you go up to signer, you can click on signer and switch, let me do that again, to Joe's signature, or you can actually just remove it by the X button. So I'll show you again. I added myself, that's not who I wanted. I can either click here to remove it, or on signer and change who it is I want it to be signed by. So I'm going to place Joe's signature here under buyer signature, and that's the last of the areas that I need to fill in, and I'm going to hit next. So I have now initiated all of the actual areas that needed to have initials or signatures on all of the documents that I have requested in this electronic package. The last step is to send it to the signers. So I'm going to click Send to Signers. And for this demonstration, I'm going to, once it goes through, okay, it's gone through, I'm going to minimize that screen and I'm going to open up my email so you can see the process coming through on my email. So here is my email. And you can see I just received an email that has invited me to sign electronic signature demo. You would probably have it, the listing address or the client's name. Once they have opened it up, they're going to click here, and it's going to open up the document for them. They can do this on their cell phone, on their computer, on an iPad, whatever they want. Now for this demonstration, I've sent Joe Smith's documents to myself so I can show you how it works. But of course, if this was your client, it would be going to your client and you wouldn't have access to it. But for this demonstration, I have sent it to myself. So pretend that I am now Joe Smith. I have received this email and I've just opened it, and this is what I see. It says this is a disclosure document. You must read and click accept at the end of the document before you can continue to the next document. So I read through it all, as most people do. They'll probably just scan through it all, and at the bottom it's going to say accept. They click on accept. It's going to take them to their next document to be signed. Again, they go through, read it through. Oh, this is an area I need to sign. So as Joe Smith, I'm clicking that document. I know that I've done it correctly because it's now turned to green with a check mark. And I'm going to go down here and I need to click here to sign. And I've done that. You know it's been done because it says accepted. It turned green and there's a check mark. And now it's saying, please click OK to confirm your signature to this document, or click cancel to review it again before submitting. Well, I'm pretty comfortable with what I've done, so I'm going to click on OK. All right. It's now going to take me to the next document in the sequence for me to sign, and it's the agreement of purchase and sale. So now I can click on my buyer's initials. Every time I do, it turns green with a check mark, meaning I've completed it. And one more initial here. And then I'm going to click on my signature. He won't see the area that I need to sign, which is down here, but I will see it when it comes to me as the agent. I continue on, and I just want to point one thing out. This little message square at the bottom says that there's a number 1. That's telling me that I still have one more signature or initial to do on this document. So I keep on going, and I click down. There's my last one. It's gone green. It says, are you happy with everything? Yes, I am. So I click OK, and it's going to take me to my next document in the sequence. And here we are with the Schedule B. One last one, gone green. I click OK. Now it's going to take me to the offer summary. I click that, it's gone green. I hit OK. And it's now going to say I've completed the signing process. It will email me the completed documents once everybody in the signing sequence has completed their task. So there we go. I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. I'm going to go back into my email. And I've received another prompt to participate in this signing sequence. So I'm opening it up. I'm going to click here. Now I'm going to participate as myself, the agent. Okay, so your client's already signed everything. You are now receiving the email for you to do your initial and signing. You can see here this message box is telling me I have 2 areas I have to deal with. One thing you notice that it didn't give me the disclosure. I don't need the disclosure. I'm the agent. I understand the process. The disclosure will only be for your client. So here we go. My first place to sign as a cooperating agent. It's completed by the green check mark. And for my signature. And I'm going to hit cancel for a second because I want you to take a look that now in the buyers section, J. Smith, so Joe Smith has initialed. And he also signed down here. It has a watermark behind it. It's electronically signed by Joe Smith. It gives you the date and the time. You're going to see GMT. What does that mean? That's Greenwich Mean Time. That is the worldwide clock. So every electronic document will be signed and stamped on the worldwide time. So no matter where your client is, you just add or subtract the amount of hours there, and you know that everything has been done on the world clock. So there's no need to worry about where they actually were. Okay, so I'm confirming that I've completed that process. It's going to take me to the next document I need to sign. And there it goes. Okay, so the agreement of purchase and sale, I don't have to initial anything. I just have to sign the commission trust account agreement, which I've done. It's now going to take me to the next document. And there is no other documents for me to sign. It's telling me that this package is complete. It's going to email the complete package to my clients, so they have a copy of it. And it's going to actually add it to Faltor as well. So now I can finish and close this email up. And I go back into Faltor. If I refresh my button here on my browser, it's going to refresh that page, and you're going to see that it now tells me that it's been completed by myself and by Joe Smith, and I can get the signed documents here. So I click that, and I will be able to open up my signed documents. There's the disclosure form that my client agreed to. There is the confirmation. There is the agreement of purchase and sales, initialed and signed, and so forth. Okay. You will also be able to pull those transactions up, those documents up in your transaction document in Faltor. So let's go back to documents here. Let it refresh. And now you're going to see it has changed slightly. Your documents now say agreement of purchase and sale signed, confirmation signed, offer summary signed, schedule B signed. You're also going to see electronic disclosure. That's the disclosure your client accepted at the beginning. And it's also going to give you an evidence summary, which I'm going to open up and show you. The evidence summary shows you the process by which you went through the electronic signing. It's going to show you the time. The audit trail will show you the time and the date the documents were signed, who signed it, what was the action they took. So they logged in, began the session as the signer, they viewed the document, they accepted it, they viewed the document, they initialed it, they clicked to sign, they confirmed, viewed the next document. So it goes through each and every one. It gives you an explanation of the document that they were dealing with. This is the IP address that they actually viewed the document on. Now, because I did both of them on my email, it's going to show my IP address for both of them. But if you were sending it to a client that was at a different location and a different computer with a different IP address, you would see a different IP for them. And then your any other information will be in there for your convenience. The other nice thing about electronic signature is in a court of law, it is much more binding than a fax. A fax actually has no credibility whatsoever because anybody could take that document that was faxed through, sign it, and send it back, and it may not have been the party that it intended to be. In electronic signature, you have their IP address, and if it actually went to a court of law, you could actually contact the electronic signature company, which is Salinas Technology, and ask for the GPS coordinates of where that IP address was at the time. So if you had sent it to Joe Smith at his place of residence, on his computer through his email address, and you actually had GPS coordinates showing that he was actually at that home, that's pretty good solid evidence that Joe actually did sign this document. Whereas if you sent it to a fax number, you have no idea where that fax machine was, who picked up that document, who signed it and sent it back to you. So it is really a strong tool in a court of law as to who actually did deal with the document. So that's just a little bit of side information on there. So we can see all of our documents are here. Now, what can I do? Well, I can now send this off to the listing agent by simply clicking to the right-hand side where it says send document by email. So I click on that. I add the listing agent's information here, email address, I'm sorry. And I type in a message. Here is the APS on 123 Demo Street. Then I go down to the next section, choose which documents I want to send him. Well, I'm not going to send the disclosure. Maybe I will. Maybe the guy's a doubtful Dan and he wants to see that the client actually said he acknowledges what he was doing. I don't have to. I'm going to send him the offer summary and I'm going to send him the Schedule B. I'm going to click on send, and now that has gone off to the listing agent of this property, and he will now receive the electronically signed document. So say you're presenting this in person, you would just simply download or print those documents off, or you could actually send them to a tablet or open up Faltor on your tablet and be there and present it in person if you want to be that green. Okay, so that's the end of electronic signature. If you have any further questions, please let me know. I'm Laura Marks. You can reach me through the Markham and Stouffville office. And I'm going to add a part 2 to electronic signature, and that's going to be how to alter a document for a sign back and utilize electronic signature for that. Bye for now, and I hope this has been helpful.